What's up, film fans, and thanks for clicking on my review for Spider-Man Homecoming. Now, before I get started on the review, just wanted to say thanks to my 3 new subscribers this week. That's right, 3 new subscribers. So that's an increase of 20% to my small little YouTube channel. Hey, it's not that much, but I appreciate it. Thanks for clicking on subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure you do so right now so you don't miss any more of my future reviews. So Spider-Man Homecoming takes place a little bit after the events of Captain America's Civil War. We got a little taste of Spider-Man in that film and he was awesome. We all wanted more, and now finally he has his own feature film. Now first, let's talk about the positives. I have to say I love the diversity of the cast. First, you have Tom Holland as the new Peter Parker / Spider-Man, and I thought he was perfect in his portrayal of this iconic character. And I didn't even know he was British. I saw him on a talk show a little while ago. He was speaking with a British accent. I'm like, dude, he totally convinced me that he was an American high school kid. The tone of the character was just right, the playfulness, the attitude. I thought he did great, so I can't wait to see more from Tom Holland in future Spider-Man films. Now, the supporting cast is one of the most diverse you will ever see in a big blockbuster film like this, and I was stoked to see so many people of color in the film. Peter Parker's love interest was a person of color. You got Zendaya, who played a very funny supporting character as well. Apparently she's some sort of pop singer. I wasn't quite aware, but she did a really good job. Peter Parker's best friend is a local boy from Hawaii in Hawaii. He did awesome too. He's super funny. And then you got Bokeem Woodbine, who I can't even remember the last time I saw him.
I said it should have some lanolin in it, not some goddamn aloe vera bullshit, motherfucker.
And this guy from the Grand Budapest Hotel playing Flash Thompson. So you can see that this cast is super diverse, and it really felt like this was a realistic portrayal of kids and characters in a metropolitan city like New York City. The other positive was that this movie did not bother with the whole origin story of Spider-Man again. This movie is an origin story for Spider-Man becoming a hero to that next level of wanting to become an Avenger, but we are saved the repetition of having to see how he got bit by a spider, the whole Uncle Ben thing. We all know the story, it's been played out. And Michael Keaton as the Vulture. Now, for those of you who read the comic books, I always felt that Vulture was one of the lamest Spider-Man villains. I mean, the guy flies around in a green bodysuit with feathers, and he basically has no powers except for the fact that he can fly around with his wingsuit. And he's a pretty lame guy, but Michael Keaton, man, that guy does a bang-up job of bringing some depth and some relatability to his character. We can all really feel the arc that his character takes from the beginning of the film to the end and understand why he's doing these criminal activities. And he actually makes the Vulture look really cool. The Vulture's suit was pretty awesome, I must say, very powerful. You could believe that he was a great villain for Spider-Man, and a formidable one that Spider-Man would actually have a hard time defeating. So in the Marvel Universe, which is known for pretty much not having great villains in their stories, Michael Keaton is definitely already up there as one of the best villains in the whole Marvel Universe. And tonally, I really feel like this film did Peter Parker right. Peter Parker has always been that smart, nerdy high school kid who has this amazing ability to climb walls and swing around with his webbing and has super strength. So I thought that they did a really good job of delivering that right tone for Peter Parker, and Spider-Man delivering those, you know, smart alecky type of lines when he's fighting the bad guys. Now, for the things that didn't really work for me in this film, there aren't much, but there were a few things that kind of bugged at me a little bit. First of all, going back to casting, you got Marissa Tomei, who I thought was a genius choice to play Aunt May, and we saw a little bit of it in Captain America Civil War, where Iron Man Robert Downey Jr. is kind of flirting with her because she's the new hot young Aunt May, and that joke is played out a little more in Spider-Man Homecoming. But I really feel like they underused her character and underused Marissa Tomei. In Peter Parker's world, Aunt May is like a mother to him. She raised him. And I didn't really feel the connection between May and Peter in this film as much as I wanted to. I wanted her to be more involved in Peter's life and not just be the side character kind of wondering, hey, where were you? I feel like she should have had more of an impact in Peter's life than she did. Maybe they're building up to that for future films, but Homecoming didn't really quite have that tight bond that I'm used to seeing and that I wanted to see between May and Peter. And also the action scenes, I felt like they were just a tad lacking. When you compare them to the action scenes from Sam Raimi's films, Sam Raimi's action scenes were just dynamic, colorful, action-packed, visceral. For the action scenes in Homecoming, I just felt like the execution, the layout, the choreography of it all, I just felt like it could have been done a little bit better by a more seasoned director. I wasn't really wowed by anything in the action scenes. They're fun and they're effective and they're passable, but nothing there that I haven't really seen before. I feel like the web slinging could have been done a little more fun. It could have been a little bit more of a wow factor to them. So I felt like the action scenes were a little bit underwhelming. And I've read in other publications that the producers of this film really wanted to focus on the high school life of Peter Parker, which I applaud as a narrative choice for the film. I think it's great. That's who his character is, and I think that was a good choice. But the problem that I had was that at times, the tone felt a little bit like She's All That, Saved by the Bell-ish, rather than John Hughes, which I think that what they were going for. And it wasn't a big problem, and I love She's All That, I love Saved by the Bell, but those movies or TV shows, the tone isn't quite the same or as mature as something you would see in a John Hughes film, or as emotionally developed, let's say. So there were a few moments where I felt like, well, that's a little, you know. So the execution of the high school element, while I appreciated the intent, I feel like the execution could have been a lot better. But overall, Spider-Man Homecoming, it's a fun film. The faults that it had are very minor. I love Tom Holland as Peter Parker. Michael Keaton was a great villain. The cast was diverse. The comedy was great. The action was passable. So Spider-Man Homecoming from me gets a 7 out of 10. Thanks again so much for watching, and I'll be back next week with yet another movie review.